Tragedy of Peru's 1987 Alianza Lima plane crash, December 8, 1987, was supposed to be just another day in the Peruvian football calendar. Alianza Lima, one of the country's most beloved and historic football clubs, had just secured a victory against Deportivo Pucallpa in the Peruvian League. Spiral Navy Fokker F27 aircraft for their return flight to Lima. But just minutes before reaching their destination, tragedy struck. The aircraft crashed into the Pacific Ocean, claiming the lives of almost everyone on board. A nation was left in mourning, and to this day, unanswered questions and conspiracy theories swirl around the disaster. This is the story of Peru's darkest day in football. Alianza Lima is not just any football club. Founded in 1901, it has been a symbol of Peruvian football and working-class pride for over a century. Known for its attacking play and passionate fan base, the club has long been a powerhouse in the Peruvian League. By 1987, Alianza was undergoing a resurgence, filled with young talent and eager to reclaim its place at the top of Peruvian football. The squad that boarded the Il-Fahrenheit flight was seen as a golden generation, a team full of promise and potential. Alianza Lima had just played a crucial league match against Deportivo Pucallpa. The game ended in a hard-fought 1-0 victory, further strengthening their position in the league. As the players, coaches and staff boarded the Peruvian Navy aircraft, they were in high spirits. The flight was meant to be a short and routine trip back to Lima. However, fate had other plans. At around 8 hours 5 minutes, just as the aircraft was approaching Lima, something went terribly wrong. Communication with air traffic control was lost. Moments later, the plane plunged into the Pacific Ocean. The news hit Peru like an earthquake. Families, fans, and the entire nation were left in shock, struggling to comprehend how an entire team could vanish in an instant. Of the 43 people on board, only one survived. The pilot, Edilberto Villar. His survival only deepened the mystery surrounding the crash. According to official reports, Villar managed to escape the wreckage and was found floating in the ocean. His account of the crash, however, was met with skepticism and speculation. Peruvian authorities initially stated that the crash was caused by mechanical failure, but others weren't convinced. The fact that the plane was a military aircraft raised suspicions. Some believed the Navy was covering up details about improper maintenance or pilot error. Others pointed to a potential structural failure or fuel mismanagement. Even today, there are whispers of a deeper conspiracy, but no definitive answers have ever emerged. The tragedy left a massive void in Peruvian football. Alianza Lima had lost nearly its entire first team, including some of the brightest young talents in the country. The club was forced to rebuild from scratch. In an unprecedented gesture of solidarity, clubs across Peru and South America lent players to Alianza Lima so they could finish the season. Rival club Universitario Deportes, usually a fierce competitor, even offered players to help keep the team afloat. The emotional toll was immeasurable. For many fans, football would never be the same again. Parents, siblings, and spouses of the victims were left with nothing but memories and unanswered questions. The tragedy also affected the Peruvian national team, which had relied on several Alianza players. One of the most controversial aspects of the crash was the involvement of the Peruvian military. The Fokker F27 aircraft belonged to the Peruvian Navy, and questions arose about whether it was properly maintained. Some theorists believe that the military covered up evidence of negligence, possibly to protect high-ranking officials responsible for overseeing the aircraft's safety. Others speculate that there was a catastrophic failure that authorities did not want to admit. There are even those who claim that something more sinister was at play, perhaps foul play linked to political tensions in Peru at the time. While no concrete evidence has ever surfaced to prove these theories, the cloud of mystery surrounding the crash has never fully dissipated. Despite the devastation, Alianza Lima slowly rebuilt. The club spent years regaining its strength, relying on youth players and donations from other teams. By the late 1990s, they had re-established themselves as one of Peru's top clubs. One of the most touching aspects of Alianza Lima's recovery was the support from international footballing figures. Claims from Argentina, Brazil, and Chile offered financial and sporting support, showing that football is more than just a game. It is a global brotherhood. Today, the memory of the 1987 team lives on. Every December 8th, the club holds a memorial service to honor the players, staff, and journalists who lost their lives. Their legacy is a reminder of how fragile life can be, and how football, as much as it brings joy, can also bring profound sorrow. For Peruvian football fans, The tragedy of Alianza Lima's 1987 team remains one of the most painful memories in the nation's sporting history. Yet, out of that darkness came resilience, unity, and an unbreakable spirit. The tragedy serves as a solemn chapter in football history, but also as a testament to the unifying power of the sport. Football is about more than just winning and losing. It's about identity, passion, and community. The 1987 Alianza Lima team will never be forgotten, not just for their talent on the pitch, but for the heartbreak and unity they inspired off it. Despite the immense loss, Alianza Lima gradually rebuilt, determined to honor the memory of those who perished. In the years following the crash, the club remained one of Peru's most successful teams, winning multiple league titles and continuing to develop top talent. The tragedy became a defining chapter in Alianza's identity, with every victory carrying the weight of history. Their return to dominance in Peruvian football, particularly in the 1990s and 2000s, symbolized resilience, proving that even in the face of unimaginable loss, the spirit of a club can endure.